Looking for a fun place to unwind during your next holiday? Say no more. We've got you covered. In today's video, we're taking a trip down to one of the most colorful places in South America. From the lush landscapes of the Amazon rainforest to the bustling streets of Bogotá, Colombia is a country filled with fascinating stories and hidden treasures. Join us as we uncover 10 intriguing facts about this South American gem. 10. It is one of the happiest countries in the world. When you decide to make a list of the happiest countries in the world, most people expect to see Nordic countries like Finland at the top of the list. But do you know which country deserves that spot? Colombia. And this isn't some baseless thought, we have evidence. The Barometer of Happiness and Hope Foundation called the South American Paradise the happiest country in the world in 2013 and 2014. It's no surprise if you take a look at their flag, you'll see that it's a country that's full of life and joy. However, Colombia has a very nasty reputation for violence. In the past few years, we've heard a number of reports especially involving political feuds. They also experience economic struggles. But despite all this, no Colombian speaks ill of their homeland. The interesting thing is that this doesn't only apply to residents of Colombia. Colombians living abroad also have good things to say about their homeland. They are all very proud of where they come from and don't hesitate to be vocal about it. These ambassadors have good reason to be pleased with themselves, which we'll see very soon. Colombia has a lot to offer, and even if the South American country isn't the happiest in the world, it's safe to say that it's one of the happiest. 9. Colombia is the real Emerald City. The Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz is obviously fiction, but what if you heard that we have a place like that in real life? Colombia is home to the biggest emerald mines in the world. That's a big flex if you ask me. It's no wonder why the people of Colombia are so proud of their heritage. Emeralds are some of the most precious stones on the planet, and after they are refined, they have a bright green glow. Do you know just how much emerald Colombia produces? Roughly 70 to 90% of the world's total emerald supply comes from the South American country. Interestingly, no other country in the world comes close to this except Zambia. For over 4,000 years, emeralds have been seen as prized jewels, and some are more desirable than others. Well, it's safe to say that the purest and most desirable ones come from Colombia. Commercial-grade emeralds are plenty. You can get those anywhere. But emeralds with fine quality are only seen in a few places, one of which is Colombia. Here's something that'll blow your minds. 50-carat Colombian emeralds can be more expensive than diamonds of the same size. A lot of mining takes place in the country, but the main locations for the emerald mining include the Colombian departments of Boyacá and Cundinamarca. You'll find these places in the eastern ranges of the Colombian Andes. 8. It has the world's highest coastal mountain range. Everyone knows that the Himalayas are the tallest mountains in the world, but you'll find that they exist between my nations, including Nepal, India, Pakistan, Bhutan, and China. So they don't really belong to just one country. No one can claim them because it's a shared territory. On the other hand, Colombia has a lot of terrain, as well as coastal mountains. These mountains are tall, and they are called the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. The coastal mountains measure up to 42,000 feet high. If you ever decide to visit the beautiful country, you'll find this place in northern Colombia, along the Caribbean coast. You might have to cover some distance. If you're coming from the beaches of Santa Marta, the land is about 42 kilometers from the beaches. You'll find a couple of snow-capped summits of Mount Colin and Mount Bolivar around the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. The summits are over 5,075 and 5,560 meters above the water, which makes Sierra the highest coastal mountain anyone has ever seen. Tourists love this place. The Tayrona National Natural Park and the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta National Natural Park both include the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. There's a lost city that you'll find hidden in Tayrona Archaeological Park. It was a major part of the Tayrona civilization. 7. Colombia's national sport isn't soccer. Yes, you heard it right. Even though soccer is a sport that the Colombian people love very much, it's not their national sport, just like Argentina. The South American nation prizes a sport that most people around the world don't expect. As a matter of fact, Colombia has hosted a World Cup before, so why isn't soccer, or football as it's popularly called in other countries, their national sport? It's simple. Because they have some other sport they've been playing long before. Any of them learned how to kick a ball. You'll definitely be surprised by what you're about to hear. Colombia's national sport is called tejo. Many of you probably don't even know what that is. Tejo is an old sport that can be described as a game of cornhole, but with more pressure. In tejo, objects are being thrown around, but not just any objects, these are heavy discs, and they are aimed at clay pots that are coated in gunpowder landmines. Hitting these landmines will earn you points. It's pretty simple. This isn't just any random game. Most Colombians play this game with a bottle of beer on the side. Think of it like what an American would do during beer pong. Tejo was derived from tiramisu, and even though it doesn't receive as much attention as football does, you can be sure the Colombians love it. After a long week of hard work, most of the locals just gather around on the weekends at tejo venues and play their hearts out. It's a really addictive game, and the explosions produced every time you strike a target are wonderful because everyone screams and laughs. 6. Colombia is a mega-diverse country. Colombia is blessed in so many ways. The country is one of the 17 mega-diverse countries in the world, which is a really big deal. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a mega-diverse country is a country where most of the Earth's species live, especially the rare ones. It's also a country where you can find a lot of endemic species. Colombia is one of the nations at the top of the list, because as we've seen already, it's home to a variety of animals, climates, and ecosystems. Even its minerals aren't common. If you plan on visiting, once you get there, make sure you take pictures of all the incredible wildlife you can find. You'll find a number of bird species in Colombia. Honestly, the country probably has the most diverse in the world. Because the authorities have respect for the wildlife and ecosystems that exist around them, they ensure they create natural parks. In the 5 various regions, there are over 41 of them. You can also find 11 fauna and flora sanctuaries, as well as 5 biosphere reserves and 2 national natural reserves in the country. Even a fraction of the Amazon forest exists in Colombia. The 17 megadiverse countries make up 70% of the total biodiversity in the world, but 10% of that comes from Colombia. The country is number 1 when it comes to amphibian species, and as if that's not enough, 68.7% of Colombia's surface has natural ecosystems living in it. All these factors make Colombia the 2nd country with the highest biodiversity per square kilometer. 5. It is home to pink river dolphins. This sounds like something straight out of a fairy tale, but it's real. There are several times that pink dolphins have been sighted within the lush landscapes of Colombia. The native indigenes call the pink dolphins boto. These creatures gracefully glide through the country's waterways. They are honestly mesmerizing creatures, with their unusual pink hue that gets deeper with age. You'll find them in the heart of the Amazon forest. No surprise there. The truth is that the pink dolphins are never usually born pink. Rather, they have a cool gray coloring. The gray gradually changes to pink as the dolphins get older. And this phenomenon raised questions because it didn't really make any sense. We still aren't exactly sure why the dolphins become pink, but there are theories. One theory states that the pink tone is from scar tissue accumulated from frequent fights. That makes some sense because the males particularly have deeper shades of pink, and male species are commonly known to be more violent. The fights are a normal part of their social dynamics, so it's hard to prevent that. Nevertheless, there are myths and stories surrounding their body color. Regardless of the origins of their unique coloring, it's not every day you see a pink dolphin. Another fact is that these creatures aren't seen everywhere. You don't find them in many other parts of the world where normal dolphins live. So, their presence reminds us of Colombia's diverse ecosystem. 4. Colombia has a diverse human population. Colombia isn't just mega diverse when it comes to wildlife. The South American country also has a population of people from different places. Over the years, there have been a number of influences to Colombian culture from different parts of the world. There are so many traditions, ethnicities, and customs. And the product of all that is a rich and diverse populace. The Colombians have embraced ideas from indigenous communities, Europeans, Afro-Colombians, and so many more. This isn't something you get overnight. Over the decades, the Colombian people have successfully migrated, intermarried, and exchanged culture with foreigners. Colombia's population is a mix of so many peoples, and we'll mention a few of them here. 53% of Colombians called themselves mestizo because they are the products of intermarriages between the indigenous people and the Europeans. Meanwhile, around 30% of Colombians claim to be white European Colombian. These ones are descendants of the European settlers that landed there during the colonial era. Additionally, 10% of the populace are African Colombian, Rizal, mulatto, or palenquero. These groups all have African origin and are very diverse. A further 3% identify as native South American. These are purebloods that preserve the culture of Colombia's indigenous people. As a tourist, you get to see the different cultures in many facets of life in Colombia. You see it in their food and even in their music. Colombian music is made up of genres including salsa, reggaeton, and traditional folk music. The festivals and celebrations are diverse as well. 3. There's a rainbow river in Colombia. Pink dolphins aren't the only spectacle you see in Colombia. Have you ever heard of the Rainbow River? The locals call it Caño Cristales, which can also be called the liquid rainbow, or the river of 5 colors. When visitors are in Colombia, they are often stunned by its display of vibrant hues. Initially, the many colors couldn't be explained, and it just served as Rainbow River just served as another take for children. But now we have an answer as to why it looks that way. The magic of Caño Cristales comes from the aquatic plants you see below it. These plants give the river a bright mix of colors that flow across the water's surface. You can find colors like red, green, black, blue, and even yellow. They all transform the river into something beautiful. Whenever the sun shines during the day, you get to see the underwater flora responsible for the colors. However, in the evenings, all you see are the colors. You might want to check this river out when next you travel to Colombia. Don't worry about hiking and climbing rock before you get to see it. Provisions have been made so that viewing it can be a convenient experience. The river is over 62.1 miles long and lies in Colombia's Serranía de la Macarena National Park. You'll find this park in the province of Meta. 2. The Colombian national anthem is played twice a day. Like Thailand and some other countries, the nation of Colombia plays its anthem twice a day, at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. This instruction is given to workers in public television and radio. This just goes to show how important the anthem is to the people, and how deep it goes as a part of their cultural and patriotic identity. The Colombian anthem is pretty long, with 11 verses, but sometimes 12 are played instead. It is officially known as the Republic of Colombia's national anthem, but the locals refer to it by its chorus's first line, which is, O Gloria Inmarcesible. It translates to, O Unfading Glory. The anthem was originally a Colombian poem, but since it reflected the core values of pride, unity, and national heritage, it was adopted. The anthem is an essential component of Colombian cultural expression because of its beautiful lyrics and catchy melody, which inspire a feeling of shared ideals and national identity among the populace. 1. Colombia has a cathedral that is carved from salt. One of the most beautiful sights in all 5 regions of Colombia is the cathedral that was made from salt. There's a town near Bogotá that is called Zipaquirá. It's in that very town that we find the salt cathedral that's underground. Yes, that's right, the church is located below the ground. It's so cool. But this cathedral isn't just any church. It's a Roman Catholic cathedral. And it was carved entirely out of salt. Every single thing you see there is made of salt. How was this possible? Well, the place used to be within the tunnels of a salt mine, but with the help of some very skilled architects and the grace of God, it became a church. Visitors from around the world always stop by to take a look at this structure. When going down the tunnel, it can be really dark and a bit eerie. You might even smell some sulfur in the air. But after your faith is able to persevere and lead past a couple of 100 yards, the narrow tunnel widens, and you finally get to see the Roman Catholic sculptures, including the Archangel Gabriel and the Stations of the Cross. And like we mentioned before, everything was carved out of salt. The rock salt used for the construction was left behind by miners who used to extract rock salt around 200 years ago. The mind-blowing cathedral is around 600 feet deep in the ground. This Grand Shire H is very active during Easter. Thousands of people attend the services and witness the crucifixion and resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. And there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more adventures around the world. Until next time.